End of game atmosphere and just that whole time you're pitching, just what did that feel like to be out there on the mound in that moment?
It was awesome. I got the chills about 30 times, but it was great. That was so much fun.
I think you were up to 98 tonight. Pretty sure that's your best. And just how much does that energy of the crowd kind of fuel you to throw your best?
That's definitely why I hit 98. If I did. I mean, it was electric. I had so much adrenaline right when I came in the game. I was trying to keep myself calm, but these fans were nuts.
Would you say you've ever felt like that before at Dick Hauser before?
Probably not. No. Against Miami with all those fans there, that was different for sure.
I'm sure both of you have heard the stories about what it's like when Miami comes to town. How did that compare to what you've been told?
I mean, that was everything I thought it was going to be. I don't know if it could be any crazier than that, to be honest. I mean, Meat tells us Miami. It's a great team, and they brought some fans too. I could hear them chirping, but it was crazy.
Yeah, it was definitely the loudest and most, maybe not most packed. I think Florida might have maybe had more fans number-wise, but just pure energy. That's probably the most I've ever seen Hauser, and I've been here for 2.5, if you count COVID year. So it was pretty electric tonight.
When they're chanting your name, and really for both you guys, how do you control your emotions in those moments?
I just try to breathe through it. Belly always tells us take deep breaths, step off the rubber if you're not in control of yourself. So I just try to keep my mind clear and breathe through it. Just slow, deep breaths.
Bryce, it's not very often that you and Parker go back to back, but with the outing that he had, did you come out with a little something extra today?
I would say no. I definitely think that having one of my only night games of the year, I think that's it's definitely something you look forward to. A 7 o'clock game against Miami. It's not on a Saturday. It's not going to get much more. I mean, in terms of like peak performance, peak energy, peak stress levels. I mean, you're not going to get much more than that. So regarding Parker's outing, I watched it on the TV and here the entire time. So I think I was well prepared to go against them. And I mean, they're a talented lineup, that's for sure.
Bryce, it seemed like you were a bit more passionate, emotionally early going, maybe channeling Parker a little bit. Was that just the emotion of it? You talked about the Saturday night, the Miami, all that played into that?
Yeah, I definitely think that having again the environment, having that many people, having a game, it's different if the team is unranked, but they're a legit team this year, and there's no doubt about that. They're a very good team. So I think that all those factors, competition level, the amount of fans, nevertheless it being Florida State versus Miami, at home, I think that definitely, regardless of who you are, that's going to bring some emotion and some passion to you when you play. This is what we dream of.
Wyatt, working out of that bases loaded jam, just what mentally was going through your head through that whole thing?
It was pretty crazy. I didn't know for a second if they were going to take me out or not, and then they left me in there, and that really fired me up on the inside. I was like, I got to do this for the team, so that was a lot of fun.
Bryce, double-digit Ks both the last 2 weeks. Has there been a difference for you, or is it just more teams swinging and missing?
I'd say that staying present, kind of remembering who I am. I know, everyone goes through rough stretches, but it's kind of how you bounce back from, whether you have a long, bad stretch or not. And at the end of the day, I'm trying to give my team the best chance to win, and that's purely what it's about. Whether I strike out 10 guys or strike out 1, I'm just kind of glad I'm, not in that contact pitcher phase anymore. Knock on wood, but it feels good. It feels really good just to come out and get a win.
You seemed a little frustrated with the mound early on. How can you kind of channel frustration into being even more locked in than you already are?
That was kind of funny. I actually, I don't know if you guys saw I slipped, and early on, I think I actually balked early on in the year when I slipped on the mound, and I slipped again and was just like, and I just threw the pitch, and it just happened to go right down the middle, and I think the hitter was like, oh, all right, he just kind of stood there because he thought I fell, honestly, I feel like I kind of get into a weird spot. Anybody you ask would be like, well, Hubbard's kind of weird on the mound out there, so it's like, yeah, I did have a word with the mound, and it was all right, and we figured it out, so it's all good from there.
Was there any conversation among the team after the first game just about how to approach the second game?
I think that we all knew it was on the line. I think we all knew, we were going to have a doubleheader today. Whether you're going to win games, you're going to lose games. I think that happens. Going out and losing the first game of a doubleheader, it's really hard not to, especially in these circumstances when you're playing Miami, whether it's any team, especially at home. It's really hard to win 2 games on the road in one day. Not even considering these circumstances. So there wasn't necessarily a conversation, but everybody in the locker room was on the same page. I mean, we wanted this game, for Terrell especially, but also for everyone here. We're not going to have people show up at 7 p.m. This many people, this fired up, just to fold over. I think that's probably the best way to put it.
That's your comment about the contact pitch phase. You had multiple weeks of delays. You had multiple weeks of being sick. Do you feel any kind of relief that maybe you're over the hill a little bit and that you can finally get back into into that form that we saw at the beginning of the season?
Yeah, I think a lot of it was more of a mental block I was going through rather than dealing with things that aren't necessarily out of your control. A lot of the things I was doing was self-inflicted mental block things. That I kind of, had talked to the coaches and just kind of figured it out. Regarding, schedule changes and jumping days forward, jumping days back, those are things that are out of your control. It's not my decision to make those. I'm just going to pitch whenever they tell me to pitch.
Do you feel good that Reese was going to be able to track that ball down?
Yeah, that one felt good. I was sitting there just looking, please catch it, please catch it. I knew it wasn't out, but I was like, please catch it. And then I'm lucky he's left-handed. You got that right hand out. So.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.